everyone, my name's Andrew, and this is Canadian Starships. Let's see what's on the bench this week. This week on the bench, we have a major change of plans. If you remember in the last update, we had some major paint issues on the static build Enterprise E. So much so that I have had to scrap that kit and move on to using the kit that I had intended for the lighted build. Now, the saucer section on the scrap kit will go into the purple juice, have the paint stripped off, and I'm sure I'll be able to use that again in the future. However, the secondary hull is pretty much useless except for the nacelles, which will be able to be reused on a static build. However, I got in touch with my client, let them know that there is going to be a slight delay because of the paint issues and that I was starting over and that he was going to get a window upgrade because I was going to be treating it just like I would with a lighted build. However, he decided to take the opportunity and upgrade to a fully lighted project. So we now have 2 lighted Enterprise E's on the bench that we are currently working on. We still have to repair Enterprise E in the shop. It is just sitting to let everything settle and cure this week, so we're not going to be working on that. We'll get back to that next week, but we are going to try to get a roll going on the lighted Enterprise E project. So let's get right at it. But before we get started, why not take a moment and click the subscribe button, and while you're here, click on that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. All the windows are cleared out on the top saucer. The ones on the front of Deck 2 and the conference room windows, those are the trickiest windows on the entire ship, at least to this point. So this part is almost ready to start working on the inside lighting, light blocking, all that kind of stuff, except that I'm not happy with this area here. Originally, I blocked out the areas where the individual banks of windows would go, which left this little one here that just did not get filled in properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out this as one big chunk, grind it out with the Dremel, and then fill it in as one piece, similar to the way that I've done the 4 big windows on the front. So I'll get that cleaned out, get some clear resin put in, and then this part will be ready to start working on. The clear resin is in place. I'm going to remove the tape, and it looks really nice. And it's super smooth. There's no filling or sanding or anything that's required. With the tape, it makes it completely smooth and seamless to the surface. So once we get into the paint stage, I will go through and mask that off. And now I will have to replace the masks after every single coat. That's one thing I learned on that failed portion of the non-lighted Enterprise E. Now, some of the resin got in behind here and spilled over into these windows, so I will need to re-clear out those windows. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I do have the lower saucer windows cleared out, and I also have one side, the port side, of the secondary hull windows cleared out. These are very small and tedious and take a fair bit of time. But as I've said, I really tried to put the windows into high gear because I want to get these projects on the go. So these parts are ready to prepare for lighting. That's going to involve, this one's already been fully washed down, these ones will need to be fully scrubbed, and then we'll start preparing the inside by light blocking the windows that we don't want to be on, and then putting our light blocking black coat and then our light reflecting white coat on the inside. I've got these windows cleared out, got the resin out of them. They'll need a little bit more touch up later, but they at least have the resin out of them at the moment. I'm going to move on to working on the lighting wiring channel. On the last Enterprise E I did, I had a shuttle bay in here which took up a good chunk of space, so the only space I had to run wire on that one was through a small gap under the shuttle bay, which was not a lot of space. So on this one, since there's no shuttle bay taking up the space, I'm going to clear out this section here to line up with this section under between these 2 supports, and I'll have to make sure that the wiring avoids the light for the deflector dish, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I should have tons of space for wiring coming from the saucer into the secondary hull. So I'm going to use the Dremel tool. I'm going to clear out the section on these to give the wire pass. The wire pass-through has been cut on both of the sections. I even did the secondary hall side that hasn't had the windows fully done. All of the windows are perforated, but they're not quite cleaned out yet with the knife. So if I put this all together and put the saucer section on, you can see how nicely that works there. Although, it would help if I did it the right way around. There we go, much better. I've also cleaned up all of the edges with a knife, smoothed them out. Nobody's ever going to see the inside of it, but it's all important that you don't have anything that wires are going to be caught on or damaged. So that's it for the wire pass through. We'll start working on getting the rest of it prepared for lighting. Window masks are on the clear resin areas. I've just got a white sheet underneath it so that you can actually see the masks on top in those locations. I've also perforated the areas where the navigation lights need to go in the various different areas, top and bottom saucer. The edge ones are interesting because they actually require 2 lights on each side. So one of them is either the red or the green, depending on which side of the ship it is. The other is a white flasher, and they are very close together. So you have to get 2 lights in there. I'm going to be using the 0402 SMDs. I might cap them this time with fiber, which will also just help protect them during the painting process. But we'll see when we get there. We're almost ready to add the light blocking paint on the inside. What I need to do before I can do that is to protect this edge, because this is actually an external edge here. I also need to block out all of the windows where the rooms are going to be lights off. So I will block those off with black electrical tape on the inside. And I also need to mask the areas where the masks are on the outside on these clear areas so that I can put the light blocking and the white paint on the inside. Then I'll be able to remove those masks so that the light can shine through our lovely window masks on the outside. I've gone to a lot of trouble to make sure that they are there. I want those to glow and show nicely. So we're pretty close to getting light block paint on the inside. So just want to show you what I'm talking about with those double lights on the side of the saucer section. So if we play this iconic scene from First Contact, see the red light over here? And then you see the blinker. So you've got both the color. The green over here is harder to see. So if I back that up, you've got the red light there. You've got your green light over here. Green's always going to be harder to see. But you've also got your white light flashers happening side by side. Taking a look at some of the pictures I've downloaded from the internet of the studio model, there aren't really many good views of the lights that I was talking about on the side of the saucer. However, this one picture here shows it right down there in the bottom corner, and there are indeed 2 bulbs. If I zoom in, it becomes very pixelated because of the quality of the photo, but you can clearly see there are 2 lights. One is the red or the green, depending on the side. The other is that white flasher, just as you saw in First Contact. So our challenge on this particular model when it comes to the navigation lights is getting both of those lights in that tiny, tiny space, because this is right on the edge of the saucer. There's not much space in there. All the windows I want to be lights off have been blocked from the inside. The clear resin parts have been masked, and I've got liquid mask running on this surface here, which is actually part of the exterior of the ship. It's just the way that the parts go together. And we're going to get some tape on the good side of these parts, and we're going to get them light blocked. And I almost forgot one of the most important things to mask off, the phaser array. Bottom saucer has received both the black light blocking coat and the white light reflective coat. The top saucer has just received its black light blocking coat. And that is as far as we are going to get this week on this project. And that's going to be all the time that we have for this update on what's happening on the bench here at Canadian Starships. I have spent so much time this week just simply opening up windows because I really wanted to put my head down and get as much of that done. We are almost there. We just have part of the starboard side of the secondary hull to finish clearing out, and then we have the neck piece that goes on near the end that needs to be worked on as far as windows are concerned. But we are getting very close. As soon as windows are done on that kit, I start windows on the second Enterprise E kit, because we're going to be pretty much as possible building these side by side where we're doing the same thing at the same time. At least that's the goal. We'll see how it works out. But I hope that you've enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure that you hit that like button. If you're new to my channel or you haven't done so yet, why not hit that subscribe button today? You'll make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew, and this is Canadian Starships. Have a great day, everyone.